everyone, and welcome to the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the new science fiction dark comedy thriller directed and written by Drew Hancock, Companion. This is also from the producers of probably the most surprising horror film of 2 years ago, Barbarian. This film stars Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid as a couple on a weekend getaway with friends at a remote cabin, which unveils into chaos after a revelation that one of the guests is a companion robot. This film was highly anticipated on my list. A little late to the party and going to see it. This film came out in January, and I finally got around to seeing it. And well, I say in January, like it was months ago. It was a couple of weeks ago, but in any event, it felt like forever because I've been trying to see this movie ever since it came out, and I finally got to peep it out. You ever watched a movie and got immediately frustrated with the marketing of the film? Why did they spoil this movie? Now, they didn't spoil the end. They didn't spoil the twists or turns that happened throughout this movie, but they spoiled the fact that it's a robot. You know, the initial teaser trailer, you was thrown for a loop. You just saw a woman sitting at the table, and she had a hand over the candle, and her hand is, her whole arm is burning, and she's just sitting there as tears are coming out of her eyes. And you're like, man, what is this movie? You figure something was kind of crazy. I never thought there was a companion robot, but that's what it was. But they dove so much into that. I was hoping and wishing that we didn't get to see that. I initially I wasn't going to reveal that, but there's no other way. I mean, it's in the synopsis of the film, and it on the poster, she's a robot. So I'm like, oh, come on, man. They should have kept that under wraps. There were ways to market this film and not reveal the actual plot or the character. You know what I'm saying? So I was a little upset by that. But with that being said, Companion is a great film. I thought this was a well put together movie. And I did not see coming. Honest to God. I figured it would be good, but it was super good. And I'm going off the basics of, if somebody goes to see this movie and don't know anything, don't go, don't seek out any information about this movie. Just go see it. This was a very good film, and it would have been awesomely great had I not known that it was about a robot. I thought this was just a woman. But with that being said, it still tells a woman's story that is dealing with the situation that she's dealing with this guy in this film. This film goes deeper. It really touches in on a lot of issues. It touches in on gender dynamics. It touches in on domestic issues dealing with control and entitlement and things of that nature, toxic masculinity and things like that. It goes into those deep dark corners, and hey, I was here for it. I thought it was played out fairly well within this science fiction murder mystery and all this here that is going on throughout this movie. I was pleasantly surprised. I think this movie was well written. On an emotional standpoint, you can really see, if you haven't been in a relationship like this, you probably know somebody who's been in a relationship like this, where our two leads are in, and it really shines a mirror, because I know people who've been in relationships like that. And yeah, it didn't end like this, but it was, I can see where it would end like this. It's really, it's really poignant. Our two lead actors here, Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid, you may know from The Boys and other TV shows and films that he's popped up in as of late. He's really coming along, man. He is how can I describe this? Um it's not that he's taken the mantle from his dad. Of course, his father is Dennis Quaid, but he's carving a path of his own. He's not relying on nepotism. He's really going down a different path. And I like it. I love it because he is such the boy next door. He is such the nerdy, geeky guy, somebody you hang out with, the real good friend that you have. That's Jack Quaid. And I don't know, it's just everything he pops up in, I love him. I just love him in it, and I loved him in this role. I don't want to get too deep into it, but you know, you just love him. You will love his character. You'll love how his character has a couple of turns in this movie that you kind of question, like, wow, man, I didn't know you had this gear in you. He really brought it there. But of course, the star of this film is Sophie Thatcher, another young actress who is taking the world by storm. She is the next big thing. I am convinced at this point. Last year in The Heretic, which is one of my favorite films from 2024, she showed how amazing of an actress she is, going toe to toe with Hugh Grant, a juggernaut in the acting sphere. And I mean, I just enjoy her performances in everything she's in. Going back to Yellow Jackets, the show that's on Showtime, that's where I was first exposed to her. Really good, and she's only getting better. And in this show, or in this movie, I should say, she really had a lot to do. She had a lot to get across with her character. Number one, she had to come off as this sweet, beautiful, loving person to our lead character of Josh. Just in complete awe of this man. And she sold that. She had to sell the parts when she was a robot. She had to sell the parts when she was afraid. She had to sell the parts when she was in danger. She had to sell. It was just a lot that she had to do throughout this little short runtime of a movie. I think it's only 90 minutes long, but she did so much work in this film. I really enjoyed her in it. Our supporting cast was pretty good. Really didn't have a problem with anybody. We didn't focus on a lot of the supporting characters, but the little screen time that we did get with them, I enjoyed it. The comedy worked. Normally when you have a movie like this, you would think it would be just a sheer, just straight up goofy comedy, but it wasn't. It wasn't like that. It wasn't a lot of comedy. I was really expecting a lot. It wasn't. It wasn't a lot. There was some there, and it was used properly. It was used at the right moments, and we didn't linger on it too long. And so I really appreciated how they used the comedy, how they used the terror, how they used the science fiction elements of it all. It was just great. I mean, I really have no complaints about it. If only they didn't spoil it, And it wasn't a spoil. It wasn't like they ruined the end of the movie. The movie's not ruined by that, but it just would have felt great to have entered this film and not known that Sophie Thatcher was a robot. Because the way the film sets up, once again, no spoilers, but the way the film sets up, for the first 20 minutes of the movie, they don't let on that she's a robot. You really believe that she's a normal person. And thank God for Sophie Thatcher's performance, because she sold it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, when are they going to reveal she's a robot? Because I know this from the trailer, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. If they would have dropped that bomb, and the way they dropped the bomb in the movie, it would have been like a jaws hitting the floor, tongues coming out, like, what? It would have been, it was set up perfectly, but you knew it. You already knew it. And so it was a wasted revealed there. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed Companion, which gets a letter grade of a B plus. I enjoyed it. Good stuff. Good stuff. But I would love to know, what did you think of Companion? Did you check it out? I highly recommend it. It is a really good movie. Let me know by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Companion. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.